What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So we got some very important things that we need to get to and discuss. The first one, we got to talk about President Biden's $5.8 trillion budget bill. We need to address how this is going to potentially impact the stimulus package. We're also going to address how experts, specifically health experts, are worried that we could see increased obesity due to the shortages of healthy products. And I also want to talk about a jet fuel shortage. So hopefully you guys have had a wonderful start to your day, but let's get right into it. So the talks out of Washington are actually pretty simple. President Biden's new budget has a goal to cut the federal deficit by roughly $1 trillion over the next 10 years. That's pretty good. But some say, is this enough? And the reason I ask this is because of this. Last year, President Biden's budget, this would have actually increased our deficit by $1.5 trillion over 10 years. Now, how did we go from increasing our national deficit by $1.5 trillion to reducing our deficit by $1 trillion? That's a difference of $2.5 trillion. Now, it's interesting how these things and how times have changed because President Biden, according to reports, is moving along the same lines as centrists. Now, the reason I bring this up is because progressives have called out President Biden on this before when he made progressives help pass the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. Because remember, centrists wanted that bill to pass. They talked with President Biden. They got him to get on their side and urge progressives to vote for it. Well, President Biden did just that, and he made it happen. But this is why things are so interesting at this time is, are we going to see President Biden side with centrists and not the progressives? According to multiple reports, many Democrats are not liking the progressive priorities and their agenda because it's actually showing, or according to reports, the American people do not want to see the progressive agenda pass. That's not what they want. So we'll see what happens there. But what is interesting about this past year is that President Biden has done almost exactly what centrists have wanted. Hasn't really, gone away from it. And if you consider what centrists want right now, this means that the talks of a stimulus package are all but done, all but dead at this time. Now we know climate's going to get worked on. We know the deficit will get cut or reduced in some way. We know centrists are focused on everything they can do to help lower inflation. But outside of that, experts are not anticipating any additional stimulus, especially at this time. That's not what they see. Just to give you an idea, the last time we saw cuts, the last time we saw some reduction in our deficit, this was under the former President Barack Obama. Now, when Barack Obama was president, he opted to reduce our national deficit by making some cuts to Social Security and Medicare. Now, that's not President Biden's plan. President Biden's plan is actually to increase revenue by taxing the rich and large corporations. That's his plan, because this is exactly what Senator Bernie Sanders wants, is to tax the wealthy. That's what Elizabeth Warren wants, to tax the rich. Get money out of Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, all the rich people in the world, or here in the United States. Now, what is actually very interesting is that President Biden's plans to reduce the deficit by increasing spending for the military and domestic programs, but at the same time, he's reducing our deficit. Reducing our deficit, increasing spending. Senator Bernie Sanders doesn't like this. He says the military does not need that much money. But some of the programs that are going to get additional spending, these include programs like cancer prevention, mental health care, and veteran services. Now, I think veteran services is something that absolutely needs to be increased. Now, I'm not saying cancer prevention doesn't. I'm not saying mental health care doesn't. But what I'm saying is we have seen over the past 2 years who gets hurt the most. Veterans have been getting screwed. People on Social Security have been getting screwed. Now, mental health is extremely important. So is cancer prevention. These all need increases. But at the same time, how are we going to reduce our deficit but increase spending and increase military spending which has already seen multiple increases. That's what many lawmakers are asking is, why do we need to see additional military spending? So we'll see what happens, but as of right now, the Biden administration has stated that right now, this is the year that we need to make some changes. And one thing that the Biden administration talked about this year is that if this budget is enacted, right, let's say it passes this year, great. If this budget is enacted this year, we would see our deficit increase, but the reduction would actually come every year after that. So we'll see what really happens here. But as of right now, there's a lot of people pushing back on President Biden's budget. Now, according to reports, Democrats hope that what happens through this budget will actually give them the momentum to almost push towards that Build Back Better Act or the Building a Better America plan. But that's their goal, is let's get people on board, let's get the momentum moving, get the ball rolling, and eventually we can pass something that will actually help out the American people. But again, we will see if that actually happens. But let's also address a real threat right now to the American people, and this is our healthy eating habits. We already know the American people are not known for eating the healthiest in the world. Oftentimes we opt for McDonald's and Taco Bell and Burger King, right? And Pizza Hut. And we go for fast food as a way to get through the day. And according to health experts, this is only causing more and more concerns. Because according to recent studies, Americans are not eating as healthy as they once did due to the rising cost of cooking staples. These include things like cooking oil, seasonings, fruits, vegetables, bread, and even meat. Let me ask you this. How many times per week do you eat out? Whether it's at a restaurant, whether it's fast food, how many times a week do you eat out? I asked this because I was talking to somebody just earlier on today, and he said the exact same thing, that what he is seeing is the shelves are bare, so you can't get some of the products that you need to cook a healthy meal. So what does he do instead? He goes to some place like Applebee's, orders a steak and vegetables or potatoes, right? He goes somewhere like Red Robin, where you can get either a hamburger, right? Not the healthiest. You can get a chicken wrap, right? You can get a salad, something like that. So that's what he is saying. If he goes to the store and cannot find the products he needs for a meal that night, then he will just order something from either Applebee's or Red Robin. But let me know, how many times per week do you eat out? Now, health experts say that obesity is a huge worry here in the United States. And obesity is only going to increase due to the lack of healthier options at the grocery store. Now, too many stores do have empty shelves. I've talked about this before, but many stores are charging much more for their better options. And let me know, are you seeing this exact same thing in your area? Now, let's talk about spring and summertime travel, because here's what's happening. Currently, we're seeing a surge in travel. This is due to travelers being cooped up for the past 2 years, and they just want to get out. The issue that we're seeing, though, is coming with fuel. Multiple airports have actually reported just recently that they are constantly seeing fuel shortages. Now, I just want to be 100% clear on this. These are not coming out of major airports. We're not seeing, or at least I haven't seen this out of JFK or SeaTac Airport or Dallas Fort Worth. That's not where I'm seeing shortages. What I'm seeing in the news is this is mainly coming out of smaller airports, which means these more rural areas could see a huge decrease in products if the planes are not coming in with the products that they need. Now, we also saw reports just this morning out of the Austin International Airport. They are telling airlines they should carry extra fuel or send in more supplies via tankers. Now, I normally get this question, so I just want to answer this. And I've watched multiple videos on this, but I know people are going to ask, why can't an airline or an airplane just fill their tanks 100% full with fuel so that they don't have to fill up between every single flight? Now, it's a legitimate question, but the answer is actually pretty simple. The landing gear on airplanes can only handle so much weight. So when an airplane, let's say, goes from Seattle to Dallas, okay? Let's say the airplane goes from Seattle to Dallas. Well, the people are gonna fill up the airplane with just as much fuel that's needed, based on the flight plan, plus a little bit for reserves and waste, right? They're gonna fill it up, and then the plane's gonna take off. Here's the issue. If the plane were to happen to need to land, let's say in Portland or somewhere in, Salt Lake City, right? Somewhere a little bit closer, there would be way too much fuel on the plane that if the plane were to land, it would actually have to burn that fuel, okay? It would actually have to release it in the air because there'd be too much weight that if that weight was on the airplane, it could actually ruin the landing gear, okay? So one thing that you need to understand is this is the reason why airplanes only get to fill up their tanks with so much fuel. And if you guys anybody out there's a pilot or knows exactly what I'm talking about, please explain a little bit better. I'm no pilot, okay? I only know what I have done my research on. I've watched multiple videos on this, even some here on YouTube, and it's a great resource. But I want to see why were airplanes burning fuel, and this is why. They can't really land with that much fuel, or else it could actually hurt their landing gear, cause the plane to crash, and so many other things. But right now, this is the issue, is if some airports don't have enough fuel, it's going to create more delays. It's going to cause flights to potentially be canceled. It could cause prices of flights to go up. It's going to cause prices of products to increase as well, because guess what? We have to get more fuel to get the airplane to land in that specific city or area. So again, this is going to hurt more of the smaller airports. But again, the smaller airports are usually next to the smaller towns, which means the smaller towns may be seeing a bigger supply shortage very soon. So that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all the latest news and updates. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.